Good afternoon. So here we are down in Cardiff Bay on a slightly rainy day, but nevertheless it's a very exciting time, isn't it, Matt, following the results of the Welsh election last week?
Really interesting. Last week we had the Welsh elections. Looks like Welsh Labour have been returned, well, they're going to be returned to the minority government. So it's really interesting to reflect back on their manifesto, look at the manifestos of the other parties as well, and see what that might mean for tackling poverty and economic inequality here in Wales.
Yes, definitely. And one of the things that's important for us as Oxfam Cymru, and what we want to see on the agenda this year, is to ensure that Wales becomes a true nation of sanctuary.
Yeah, absolutely. The refugees and asylum seekers are some of the most vulnerable people in the world. Welsh Labour mentioned them in their manifesto, but we're actually quite explicit about only Syrian refugees from the Syrian conflict. Actually, Plaid Cymru went a lot further. They talked about making Wales a nation of sanctuary. The Welsh Conservatives had quite a lot in their manifesto as well about improving services for refugees and asylum seekers here in Wales. So hopefully those two, alongside Casia Wiliam, the Liberal Democrat Assembly member, can put some pressure on Welsh Labour to go further than what was in their manifesto.
Yeah, let's hope that we see that. I guess thinking about Wales's role in the world as well, and kind of our global role, I think this year we're hoping to focus on education as well, and the role that education can play in terms of forming our young people's minds to make sure that they're well-informed citizens of the world.
Yeah, absolutely. In the last assembly we saw Professor Donaldson present his report on the Welsh curriculum and taking that forward, which included those very things you just said. And I think what's important for this assembly now, we didn't see any opposition to that. I think the parties in the last assembly are supportive, so we've got the words on the paper. We now need to see the parties in the assembly make that happen.
Yeah, hopefully see them working together to drive that on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, these young people are going to be the next generation of workers here in Wales. And for Oxfam Cymru, one of the big issues for us is to ensure that people in Wales have decent work and that they're paid the fair living wage.
Yeah, absolutely, and we saw mention of the living wage in a number of manifestos. Welsh Labour's manifesto talked about perhaps using procurement, so what the government buys to deliver that. Obviously it can't set a minimum wage itself, so it's got to look at other ways to do it. Other interesting point, UKIP drew a lot of their support from former Labour voters, the working classes in Wales. So those voters will be looking to UKIP to stand up for them. So supporting increases in pay for the lowest earners in Wales would be a good way to start.
So plenty of exciting things to look forward to. If you want to know more about what we're doing, follow us on Twitter @Oxfam Cymru.